Most of us don't grasp the variety of animal species that inhabit the Earth today, and some even get surprised as they find out there are some cool animals they haven't heard of before. Not to mention the depths of our oceans, where there's probably even more weird-looking animals waiting to be discovered. Scientists themselves keep observing new species every year and admit that modern science is not familiar with all of the strange animals existing today. We put together a selection of such 10 unusual animals. Number 1. Aye-aye. Aye-ayes can be found only on the island of Madagascar. These rare animals may not look like primates at first glance, but they are related to chimpanzees, apes, and humans. These are dark brown or black and are distinguished by a bushy tail that is larger than their body. They also feature big eyes, slender fingers, and large, sensitive ears. They have pointed claws on all their fingers and toes which enable them to dangle from branches. Aye-ayes spend their lives in rainforest trees and avoid coming down to earth. They are solitary creatures and spend their days asleep in the branches and searching for food at night. The most unusual feature of the aye-aye is its extremely narrow middle finger, which it uses to tap on trees to find grubs under the bark. The aye-aye listens for echoes to find hollow areas in the trees, a method called percussive foraging. Once an individual has found a hollow part of a tree, it gnaws into the bark and uses its middle finger to hunt for grubs and insects inside the tree. Despite this specific adaptation to eating insects, the aye-aye can also be found eating seeds, fungi, and fruits, which makes it an omnivore. Many people native to Madagascar consider the aye-aye an omen of ill luck. For this reason they often have been killed on sight. Such hunting, coupled with habitat destruction, have put aye-aye populations at risk. Today they are protected by law. Number 2. Dumbo Octopus. Dumbo octopuses live in the deep open ocean down to depths of at least 13,100 feet, 4,000 meters, and perhaps much deeper, making this group the deepest living of all known octopuses. The Dumbo octopus is a deep-sea cephalopod with a bell-shaped semi-glutinous body. Life at these extreme depths requires the ability to live in very cold water and in the complete absence of sunlight. 2 fins are located on their mantle. The fins resemble the ears of an elephant. Their arms are webbed when floating with their tentacles flat out. They look like open umbrellas. They flap and wave their fins to hover above the ocean floor, looking for crustaceans, worms, and other food. Females can store sperm for a long period of time after mating with a male. Females carry multiple eggs at different stages of development. When ready, they lay the large eggs on hard surfaces on the ocean floor. The eggs take a long time to develop and there is no evidence of parental care. They hatch as well-developed juveniles. Giant softshell turtle is a species of freshwater turtle that is native to Southeast Asia. It has been considered to be among the largest extant freshwater turtles. The species is endangered and in the 20th century has disappeared from much of its former range. Cantor's giant turtles spend most of their life buried and motionless, with only their eyes and mouth protruding from the sand. They surface only twice a day to take a breath and capture their prey by sit-and-wait strategy using an element of surprise. Cantor's giant softshell turtles are primarily carnivores feeding on fish, crustaceans, and mollusks. They may also supplement their diet with some aquatic plants. Females of these large freshwater turtles lay their eggs in February or March on riverbanks. They are also heavily harvested by locals for meat and are often killed by fishermen when caught in fishing gear. Number 4. Lamprey. Sea lampreys are jawless parasitic fish. Sea lampreys have a disc-shaped section cup mouth ring with sharp, curved teeth. They use their teeth to latch onto large fish like salmon, trout and catfish. The only foods of sea lamprey are the blood of larger fish. The blood is sucked up by the lamprey. Slowly but surely, the victim will eventually die because of blood loss, or by the wounds the lamprey inflict. They swim by flapping its tail and can be over 3 feet long. The longest recorded must have been around 40 inches, and the smallest 5 inches. They have a single nostril at the top of their heads and breathe through 7 pairs of tiny gill openings located behind their mouth and eyes. Their eyes are small and blue, but don't really help them much. Sea lampreys are able to live in both marine and freshwater. Adults swim upstream when they are ready to spawn. They build nests in the gravel substrate by rearranging rocks with their mouths. The adults die shortly after spawning. A single female may produce 100. Number 5. Naked mole rat. Naked mole rats are one of the only true eusocial mammals, meaning they live in large colonies with just one breeding female, called the queen. The queen is the only mole rat to produce offspring. The best known is probably the naked mole rat, whose hairless, tubular, wrinkled body makes it appear a bit like a tiny walrus, or perhaps a bratwurst with teeth. Naked mole rats are rodents, but they live in communities like those of many insects. A naked mole rat can move each of its front teeth separately, like a pair of chopsticks. Naked mole rats don't drink water. At birth, a mole rat pup weighs less than a penny. And a single litter averages 12 to 28 pups. Napping mole rats often sleep on their backs, upside down. Number 6. The Fossa. Fossa is a cat-like, carnivorous mammal that is endemic to Madagascar. The fossa is the largest mammalian carnivore on the island of Madagascar and has been compared to a small cougar. It has semi-retractable claws like a cat and flexible ankles that allow it to climb up and down trees and also support jumping from tree to tree. It has monkey-like tail as long as its body, but no one told the females she's extremely hard to please and she'll fight any males she doesn't like. She only mates once a year and often in the same carefully chosen tree. Number 7. Star-nosed mole. Star-nosed mole is one of the most uniquely specialized noses in the animal kingdom. It is also the most aquatic Tennessee mole and only occurs in the eastern part of the state. This star-nosed mole may be the world's weirdest-looking creature. A small, stout, streamlined mammal with 22 pink, fleshy tentacles radiating from the nose in a star-like pattern. Looking like a cross between a rat and an octopus, its super senses also make it a lethal hunter. The soft, short fur is brownish-black or black and lighter on the belly. They have concealed ears, tiny eyes, and a long, scaly tail with coarse hairs. The heavy-built forelimbs support enlarged, broad feet and large claws that point outward to aid in digging underground tunnels. Higher elevations. Earthworms and aquatic insects are the primary foods, but it also eats snails, crayfish, and fish. Females produce 1 litter of offspring per year like other moles. Number 8. Yeti Crab. The Yeti Crab is a family of deep-sea decapods crustaceans, essentially, lobsters and crabs, with hairy arms and a white shell. The very first species was only discovered in 2005 on a hydrothermal vent near Easter Island. The animals are commonly referred to as Yeti crabs because of their claws and legs, which are white and appear to be furry like the mythical Yeti despite its reduced eyes and blind sight. The Yeti crab nevertheless has several unique adaptations to survive the harsh biome of the cold and desolate deep seafloor. One of the more interesting facts is that Yeti crabs pile on top of each other to stay warm near hydrothermal vents. One scientist counted some 700 crabs per square meter. Because it lives deep in the water, the Yeti crab has no need of color pigments, making it appear white or gray. The Yeti crab does not seem to have many predators in its natural environment. It's thought that some deep-sea octopuses and fish may find them quite edible. The entire diet of these crabs revolves around bacteria. By waving their hairy claws through the plumes of oxygen, methane, and hydrogen sulfide emanating from the vents, they essentially harvest the bacteria to feed upon. To the human eye, this strange movement looks kind of like a rhythmic dance. Number 9. Blobfish. If you were asked to think of the ugliest creature you can imagine, you might picture the blobfish. A pale pink gelatinous blob with a droopy, downturned mouth and large, sagging nose. Blobfish look almost unrecognizable underwater. These tadpole-shaped fish have bulbous heads, large jaws, tapered tails, and feathery pectoral fins. Blobfish are usually found in dark, cold habitats deep at the bottom of the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans, between 1,970 and 3,940 feet deep. Rather than scales, they have loose, flabby skin. They don't have strong bones or thick muscle. Instead, they rely on the water pressure to hold their shape together. That's why blobfish collapse into a squishy mush when they are pulled up to the surface. Because they live at such incredible depths, these fascinating fish are hard to study in their natural environment. Unlike many other fish, which use a gas-filled sac to control buoyancy, blobfish don't have a swim bladder. If they did, it would implode due to the extreme pressure. These animals are lie-in-wait predators, meaning they sit at the bottom of the ocean and eat anything that passes by, such as crustaceans, brittle stars, anemone, and carrion. This allows them to preserve energy, which is key to their survival. Researchers believe that blobfish reproduce in groups, laying large clutches of around 100,000 eggs in each nest, perhaps to increase the offspring's chances of survival. Number 10. Japanese spider crab. As a species of marine crab, these crabs are often found inhabiting holes and pits on the ocean floor between 160 to 2,000 feet in depth. Japanese spider crabs can have a leg span of over 3 meters and can weigh almost 20 kilograms, big enough to be capable of devouring a human child. Molting is the process of growing a new shell. To replace the old one, the crab will take in a lot of water so that the body swells up and forms a crack in their shell that they can crawl out of. Once they're out of their shell, their soft body is exposed for approximately a week while their new shell hardens up. In that time, they're very vulnerable to predators like octopuses and stingrays. The largest crab ever caught, affectionately known as Crabzilla, was almost 3 meters long and weighed about 20 kilograms. Japanese spider crabs are scavengers and often do not actively hunt for prey. Thank you very much for watching, and to get more updates on Wild World, please subscribe my channel and hit bell icon.